Meantime, right now, let's bring in our political reporter, Chris Tye, also here with us in Milwaukee. And Chris, Chicago gets to play host in just about 1 month.
That's exactly right, Joe. We will play host in 1 month. And the big difference, of course, between the RNC and the DNC, from a security standpoint, from a protest standpoint, is all the events here are on one plot of land on this main street in downtown Milwaukee. In Chicago, it's split between the United Center and McCormick Place. In Chicago, you have an incumbent president, which just engenders more protesters. And Chicago's, of course, just a bigger city. All that being said, we spoke to some Chicago police leadership today who say the worst case scenario that some were forecasting is less likely to unfold as they might have expected. In Milwaukee, this was sort of the singular big protest. Happened earlier this week, Monday night, just outside Fiserv. There's only been one major protest here. Security perimeter just outside of the building. This group represented 100 different groups, and there were no injuries, arrests, or incidents. Protesters who fought to be within sight and sound of the convention tell me they were happy with how things went. What has given them concern is that incident yesterday where out-of-town police assisted with the convention engaged in a neighborhood incident that led to a police-involved fatal shooting. They say that was something they worried about for years, and they say that's what Chicago should focus on.
That is my big red flag for what's going on in the DNC, and I think that what Chicago could learn from, not in terms of organizers, but in terms of the police forces there, I think that what they need to know is that, bringing outside agencies just roaming free around a community they're unfamiliar with is a recipe for disaster.
So we took that concern to the Chicago Police Chief of Counterterrorism, who is here in Milwaukee today to study best practices. He says at the DNC, out-of-town police will be limited to inside the convention security perimeter. And with the exception of Milwaukee police, all agencies offering a helping hand are from inside Illinois. He says an incident like the one that occurred in that neighborhood of Milwaukee yesterday is unlikely to happen during the DNC next month. Does that give you pause on how to use out-of-town police?
No, with Chicago, we're using the out of town differently. We don't have to ask for as many because we are a bigger police department.
No out of Chicago police will be doing neighborhood patrol.
Correct. Chicago police will handle the neighborhoods.
There are about 80 Chicago police officers on the ground here helping with security. They are largely working the overnight shifts. And Joe, that head of counterterrorism for CPD tells me that Chicago is not planning on changing their security blueprint based on the attempted assassination of President Trump this past weekend.
Some interesting notes for CPD. Joe, Chris, thank you both for your reporting from Milwaukee. Joe, we'll see you at the bottom of the hour.